Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video I'd like to discuss the latest over the misogynistic piece in the Mail on Sunday as MPs run the very serious risk of looking weak in the face of something that on the surface has cross-party support. The Speaker of the House really needs some instruction from MPs on this as a matter of urgency. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification icon. So I'd already talked about the danger of allowing stories like the one in the Mail on Sunday to run without consequence at the start of the week. But the problem seems to be worse now. I said at the time it seems to have backfired. No, it doesn't. It's actually much worse. As a result of a failure to act on the part of the Speaker of the House of Commons, Sir Lindsay Hoyle, now there are a few strands I need to draw together in this video, but let's start with the Speaker. So Hoyle was asked if he should remove the lobby pass from the political editor responsible for the piece. And he wasn't asked by Angela Rayner, who's the victim in this. He wasn't even asked by the Labour Party. He was asked by a Conservative MP who chairs the Women and Equalities Committee. Along with the robust condemnation of the piece from Boris Johnson, we may suppose that consequences for this article have cross-party support. Hoyle, however, said that he will not withdraw the lobby pass, but that he would call a meeting with the editors of the newspaper. Those editors have told him to do one. A message writ large on the front page of their sister paper, the Daily Mail, today. Now, things to bear in mind here. First, some people will see this as the latest example of Hoyle's weakness and unsuitability as Speaker of the House. Now, I've been quite vocal in the past that people have blamed Hoyle for things that are not his fault. People ask why the Speaker doesn't tackle Johnson over his lies to the House. He's got no power to. It goes like this. Boris Johnson is clearly not obeying the rules of the House, yeah? So you don't obey the rules, there should be consequences. Okay, the Speaker is responsible for discipline in the House, so he should impose consequences. But there aren't any to be had. Hoyle also has to follow the rules, and the bottom line is he has no tools to actually enforce discipline. And I don't know whether I have more sympathy for him. From my time as a teacher, when I've been in schools, I've taught in colleges. It was all so much easier in colleges. In schools, certainly the ones I taught in, if children didn't follow the rules, there was actually precious little to be done. It was all a con, and I wasn't very good at the con. If the show of consequences didn't work, and the parents were either unsupportive or just as ineffective as I was, then you were knackered. Ultimately, there was nothing you could do. And the same's the case with Boris Johnson here. A man who was considered an entitled pain in the arse, even at Eton, most exclusive private school in the country. He was considered entitled even by their standards. Hoyle can decide which MPs can speak in debates, and he can select ones who are likely to ask awkward questions of Johnson. And he has been doing, he said he's been doing that. But he's got no real authority. Whenever people say, oh, Speaker should do this or that, it's like, point to me in the rule book, Erskine May, where it says he can do it. Oh, yeah, it's not there. Because he can't. He has to follow the rules. Yes, Johnson's not following the rules, but do you know what? The consequences for that are blank page in Erskine May. The rules were never designed for someone with insufficient moral boundaries. Just as the system in the US has been failing because it never imagined an operator like Trump, so we are seeing the same problems in the UK. The rules can be changed, of course they can. We don't have to stick to some rules at 200 years old, but they can't be changed by the Speaker. If MPs recognise a weakness in the system, of course they can fix it, of course. But a majority of MPs will not support a change in the rules to bring Johnson to heel because a majority of MPs are under his leadership. This is the problem. But that is not to say the Speaker is a good one and is doing as well as any other would. It's simply to say that there are things that no Speaker would have an answer for, and Johnson's misdeeds is right up there. But the Speaker can take a stand against the sort of reporting that the Mail are now doubling down on. Because I've said it before, the Speaker represents MPs in the House of Commons. A majority of them do not want him to tackle Johnson's lies, so he has no power to. But it seems to me that a majority want him to tackle this, and he's not doing so. He could withdraw the lobby pass from the editor in question. Seems to have cross-party support to do that. Especially as they refuse to even meet with Hoyle. Like, look at what's happening here with this front page today. So, Hoyle had already said he wasn't going to withdraw the lobby pass. and he's told them to go to a meeting. They've refused to go to the meeting. Why? Why wouldn't they just... They're issuing a challenge here with this front page. They're telling the public that they're not going to do anything that MPs tell them to, because the Speaker represents MPs. So they are challenging Parliament. They could have just gone to the meeting and said, look, we stand by our story. We think it's appropriate to report. That'd be it. They go along, have a sherry, come out of it saying, yeah, we had a meeting, nice cordial meeting, but we stand by our position. No, they're doing this. They want to ramp this up. They're saying they refused the meeting because it's up to them what they report on. Well, fine. It's also up to MPs who gets to wander around the corridors of Westminster, isn't it? At least they're half of it. Now, before I discuss how we can reject this premise, let us first of all try and imagine this from the point of view of the Mail on Sunday who think they have a genuine story. So let's consider that they talked to an MP who relayed the statements in the article. Does that make it acceptable to report? Well, even if a Tory MP genuinely reported this to the Mail on Sunday, and we needn't cast doubt on that for now, but it may not be true, but let's say it is, what efforts did they make to verify it? After all, the article makes clear that Rayner boasted of having pulled a basic instinct on Boris Johnson in the Commons bars. So they're saying that there are loads of witnesses, basically. Now, here's the thing. Boris Johnson loves a bit of divisive politics. He keeps poking the culture wars in a clear effort to divide and rule. If it was common knowledge that Rayner had been making these boasts, then he would have no need to come out as strongly against the article as he has. He might have to say, well, I'm not sure it's the sort of thing to be reported. But he wouldn't have said that this is a disgraceful article. He wouldn't have had to if it was common knowledge. Johnson has even said, if he finds out which of his MPs is responsible, he'll visit upon them the terrors of the earth. I don't think there's any need for that. But the implication could be that they have the whip suspended for a time at least. Also, there are no shortage of Tory MPs who don't seem to mind outrage. Wouldn't we have expected after the backlash against the story, and it was a big backlash, a load of morally dubious Tory MPs to come out and back up the claims in the paper? Well, I've heard her say it too. Yeah, it seems to be common knowledge. Not a whisper. Like I said, the whole premise of the article, it's not just that some Tory MP thinks that Rayner is trying to distract Johnson with the legs he can't even see across the table and dispatch box, but that she boasts about it in bars. It'd be common knowledge. Yet not a single MP has come forward to say they've heard these tales themselves, let alone witness these very public boasts themselves. And we know there are some who would. Michael Fabricant, not want to pick on people, but Michael Fabricant is known for not exactly thinking through his statements. Often when he comes out to try and defend someone, he actually makes it worse. Doesn't think things through. Not a peep from him or anyone else as far as I can tell. A journalist has to check their sources. They have to be confident that they are reporting the truth before they publish anything. And here's where I think there might be some doubt as to the story even being true. I saw someone trying to defend this political editor. Not defend the story, the editor. I can't remember who it was, but they tried to say, you know, this is the way it works at the Mail on Sunday. They pay you a lot of money, and every now and then you have to write a story like this. So what are they saying in that statement? They're not saying that the article's justified. They're not saying that it's good reporting or even acceptable reporting. They're saying it's terrible. They're trying to defend the person by saying that they haven't chosen to do it, they were told to do it by their bosses. That's the best defence for this story that has emerged. And that's without even considering, you know, if you're considering from their point of view, whether, even if it were true, let's say it were true, that they had a Tory MP verify this and they had a few others say, yeah, it's absolutely true. That's without considering if it's even appropriate to report on it in such prominent fashion. I mean, the front page of the Sunday paper, not somewhere in the dark recesses of the opinion and gossip pages. And today's Mail's the Daily Mail front page today even had the nerve to say that Hoyle was overreaching by inviting the editors to a meeting and that it startled MPs. It did not startle MPs. MPs called for this action. In fact, as I've already said, they called for serious action in the form of withdrawing the lobby pass. Not a few backbenchers. That includes the Prime Minister himself called for action. It was also not overreaching because Hoyle had already said he wouldn't be removing their pass, but would like a meeting. How is that overreaching? But what's happened here, as I say, the gutter press are challenging the House of Commons. Hoyle has said he won't remove the pass. As stupid as NATO saying they won't directly intervene in attacks non-NATO countries. Even if you're not actually prepared to do it, never rule it out until the situation is resolved. I mean, as I say, I struggle with behaviour teaching in schools. Even I wasn't stupid enough to rule out credible consequences. Even if I thought to myself, I'll never make it stick, I didn't rule it out. Now the editors have refused to go to the meeting. Now that on its own would be potentially challenging enough, but they're the ones boasting about it here. They got Dan Hodges, the political editor of the Daily Mail, to write a challenge in massive letters on the front page of this rag. These hacks are not just sticking two fingers up at MPs, they're shouting it from the rooftops. The situation is this simple. The Mail on Sunday and the Daily Mail now are reporting on a private... They're not reporting on a private meeting, that allegedly took place, or something that, say, a small number of MPs would have witnessed, and they're trusting the word over their source over the small number of others. No. They're claiming that the content of their report is common knowledge. Their defence is, she was shouting it in the bars, everyone could hear it. So it would be common knowledge amongst MPs and other reporters, because it took place in a place where they were, loudly, in a House of Commons bar. It's been denied by Rayner. It's been condemned by the MPs and reporters who would surely have known about it if it were true. It's even been condemned by Boris Johnson, who loves a bit of outrage, especially when he's under pressure. In order to remain credible, the Mail are basically saying that other MPs, including Tory MPs, as well as the rest of the press, are all covering for Rayner over this for no readily apparent reason. And not only are they getting away with publishing it, but they are wanting their readers to know that they have no respect for the authority of the House of Commons. They will report on whatever they please, they say. Fine, then do it without the lobby pass, say I. If you're going to report on hearsay with no corroboration anyway, what do they need the pass for? The pass is there to be able to find things out from MPs, little quiet words and so on. If you're just going to print gossip without any investigation, you can do that from your own offices. I think this is a very dangerous moment. Freedom of the press, of course, is vital to any democracy, but it is the freedom to speak truth to power, not the freedom to do as you please. With freedom comes responsibility. It's a little bit like Elon Musk, who's just nicked Twitter now, saying that Twitter should be like the public square where everyone gets their say. But someone very wise pointed out, sure, but you still have to deal with the village idiot who keeps waving his willy at passers-by, don't you? But those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. Hope you found the video interesting. If you did, please click the like button. And until next time, I'll see you later.